I came across an article that highlighted the fact that George Williams has not been compensated and is actually living in squalor. And as a support to his effort, I decided to do this video because George Williams needs voices. Just like on YouTube, to give your brain some new food. Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I say you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today's video is echoing a plea for a Jamaican who goes by the name of George Williams. Amid the noise of COVID and the vaccine, there's a lot of people's needs that goes muffled. The world is facing a crisis, undoubtedly, but at the same time, it doesn't justify other people's crisis being muffled. And I understand that George Williams' problem or crisis may just be his personal crisis and one that does not affect the entire world or the entire country of Jamaica. Nonetheless, his voice, his cry needs to be heard. George Williams should receive justice. Everything is about COVID. Everything is about the vaccine. But does this justify someone like George Williams to be denied of justice or to be ignored? For most of you who might have not heard of the news about George Williams was arrested and incarcerated in 1970 on a charge for murder. And for 5 decades, 50 years, he's been in prison without ever seeing a judge, without ever standing trial. I'm lost for words. I'm trying to find a word that could justify that. Regardless of that, it's done, it's dusted. 50 years, nothing in this world you can do or you can say that can give back a man 50 years. Many human beings came on this world, on this earth, and died before 50 years. George Williams was in prison before I was born. And I am celebrating 50 years this year. George Williams has been a free man only a year. But from my understanding, the government of Jamaica seem as if giving him back his freedom is compensation enough. And he should just make ends meet like the rest of Jamaicans. I disagree. I understand and I see through the media that the homeless population in Jamaica is getting bigger and bigger. Despite that, the homeless people, they are at the sympathy of the government. Let's put it like that. I'll challenge that in a minute. The homeless people are homeless based on their individual situation and individual condition. And whatever the government do for them can be seen as a privilege. But where George Williams is concerned, the government owes him. He's not asking for handout. The government owes George Williams 50 years of his life. The government needs to come out of pocket for a home for him. The government needs to come out of pocket for enough money that can hold him over for the rest of his life. Why? Because the government, or whichever government that's ruling Jamaica, when something like this happens, the judicial system in Jamaica is yours. The justice system in Jamaica is yours, whether it's straight or it's crooked. When you become Prime Minister, when you become government of Jamaica, you adopt that and you adopt the responsibility of it. The justice system done George Williams wrong, and the Jamaican Labour Party need to address that. Not by giving him pity, not by saying, we're sorry that that happened. It already happened. In Jamaica, we say what? Sorry can't buy soldier lorry. So as much as an apology would be appreciated, it does not put a roof over his head. It does not put a bed for him to sleep on. Jamaican government owe George Williams. The system made a mistake. And the government, the ruling government, have to take responsibility of that mistake. This only came to light after Noel Chambers, an 81-year-old inmate who have served 40 years in prison within the same situation as George Williams, died. And that's when somebody in Jamaica, thank God for whichever department it was, decided to fine-tooth comb the inmates in Jamaica, only to find out that George been lingering in prison for 50 years. He didn't know any better, and apparently his relatives didn't know any better. I understand that level of ignorance. I understand when you don't understand how the legal system works. Well, 50 years have gone. I came across an article that highlighted the fact that George Williams has not been compensated and is actually living in squalor. And as a support to his effort, I decided to do this video because George Williams needs voices. He needs people to speak for him, to object to how the government is treating his situation. Let's come out, or let's stay in our selfish ways. If we want to stay selfish and just think for self, just think that this or a similar situation could be you, could be your loved one, could be that other human being that you cherish so much. So for that sake, I'm asking on behalf of George Williams and his family. I don't know them personally. No one reached out to me personally. I came across the article for the second time and was disappointed to learn that the JLP did not do anything in compensating for him. I understand that justice is slow, but 50 years, how slower could it get? He's here now. Before I go, let me say to the relative and family members of George Williams, if you guys are not tech savvy and you don't really know how to do online petition, just do the old school way. Get some paper, get a booklet, create a heading which is a cry for justice for George Williams, and have as many people as you can sign it. Try to get thousands, hundreds of thousands. It is a process. And let me not mislead you. Considering the Jamaican government, all that effort could still fall on deaf ears. But if you get it notarized and stamped by a justice of the peace, make copies of it, and you're sending it to the Jamaican government by registered mail, just keep sending it. And then with the help of Jamaican media houses, you have proof that you've been sending this to the government and no one has been listening. That is no one listening. So first of all, I would say send it to the Ministry of Justice. Then you could send it also to a copy to the Department of Public Prosecution, because at the end of the day, the Department of Public Prosecution is responsible. They are who prosecute. In this case, I understand that George was not prosecuted, so is the DPP responsible? Department of Public Prosecution. Well, no one prosecuted him, so I guess the Department of Public Prosecution is safe in this area. So it's really the Jamaican government and the Ministry of Justice, because that's who was responsible for George Williams being incarcerated for all this time. I hope that my subscribers and my viewers will share this video in plea of George Williams. Again, I understand the chaos of what's going on in the world with the pandemic, but at the same time, we can only help little by little. And starting with George is not a bad start. I also saw that there was a whole lot of homeless people in Jamaica Street. With so much homeless people, you don't really know where to start. But without any neglect of knowledge where the homelessness is concerned in Jamaica, this one is for George Williams. Okay, people, that's pretty much all I have to say. As you know on my channel, I appreciate thumbs up and thumbs down, agreement and disagreement, because at the end of the day, people, Each one teach one. We've reached the end of my video, and that in itself is a support that I truly appreciate. Other ways that you can support this channel is by giving this video a thumbs up. But the most important way to support my channel is to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any of my future uploads. The third way to support this channel is to go to my Teespring account and purchase in any of my merch. And the fourth way that you can support this channel is joining me in Patreon to give me a contribution to help me to do what I do here on YouTube. Once again, I want to thank all of you guys for checking out my video and ask that you continue to join me, ENT Sabas, here on YouTube to see where my journey takes me. Until next time, peace.